Anyway, let's welcome onto the World Football Phone for the first time football journalist Johnny Bentley is with us. Johnny, good morning.
Very early morning, isn't it, Dotun?
Yeah.
I just to talk on hot drinks, it's more a caffeinated coffee for me, just to power me through during these early hours, as I say. But it's a pleasure to be on with two journalistic behemoths. So very much looking forward to it. Or at least I was going to say one, and thank you for inviting Tim on, but I thought that was a bit cruel. So we'll go with two.
Well, I have just seen Dotun take his jacket off in quite a skin-tight shirt, and I can tell you that he is a journalistic behemoth. You're right on the money with that kind of thinking, Johnny boy.
Slightly.
Well, let's start with Johnny. Johnny, surely in our region, as in Europe, the continent, and the UK, it's got to be Victor Osimhen, surely. Although he is a Nigerian, so I'll take the Nigerian part of the region, you take the European part. Go ahead.
Wondered where you were going with that. No, I think it's, I'm going to slightly play against that. I think Manchester City, before Erling Haaland, were phenomenally good going forward, scoring goals, as part of an unpredictable false nine kind of setup. They won the league, they won trophies without that killer striker. Now, obviously, when you add Erling Haaland to the mix, you're not going to turn that down. He's a freak of nature, isn't he? He's incredible. He's one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in world football. But those players don't just come off trees. They are quite difficult to find. And Dotun mentions Osimhen. He's probably paying 100 million plus to land a player of that calibre. But the development over the recent season of Kai Havertz, I think, has been really impressive, because not only does he score important goals in the box, but I feel like his overall movement actually benefits the players around him. And I think the fact that Arsenal already have quite a lot of players that can score goals. You've got on the left, you've got Martinelli or Trossard. On the right, you've got Saka. Then Ødegaard can chip in. Rice chips in. If you get Marino, you've got more midfield balance. Calafiori. You've got, I think, now the best defensive unit in the Premier League. I'm not convinced that you necessarily need that golden striker ticket like everyone else thinks you do.
Well, although, and no disrespect, Johnny, you may not be convinced about it, but Arsenal are trying everything in the book to get Ivan Toney on their books to stop him from going to Saudi Arabia or wherever else he might be destined to go as he leaves Brentford. So why would they be so interested in Ivan Toney if they don't need him?
So Ivan Toney would be an interesting one, because for starters, he's clearly not wanting to stay at Brentford, and the potential would be there for a much cheaper deal than, say, an Osimhen type figure, for example. But I also think with a player like Toney, you've probably got that. I know he comes with quite a sizable ego, one would imagine, but you've got that ability to be flexible and rotate in a different way to, say, if you'd spent £100 million on one particular striker. In that sense, then you could have games where you play Toney, but then you could also have games where you stick Havertz in that false nine role as well. And having that ability to rotate and be flexible will be advantageous over the season, no doubt. But also, if you're going to bring Toney into the equation, if you can get Toney on a cut price deal, as you've just suggested, Dotun, and by cut price I mean something that's a reasonable transfer fee in today's market, why not? Physical presence, Premier League proven, scores goals, and offers something a little bit different, but also doesn't come with the pressure of being expected to lead the line every week, because, as I say, I think Kai Havertz is doing a very good job in that false nine role at present. Yeah, well, I think so. Scott McTominay has certainly been linked with a move away, and at the same time, Manuel Ugarte has been linked with a move there. And I think, I've noticed Tim actually comment on Ugarte, saying that it would be an excellent move, particularly given that he's a combative defensive midfielder, and that's something that United, they don't necessarily like, because they have Casemiro at the moment. But this isn't Casemiro in his prime. This is maybe Casemiro of a few years after, maybe lacking the legs that he used to have. Ugarte a little bit has the years on him, has a bit more dynamism, isn't playing at PSG at the moment, and could very well come into Manchester United in this week, and they will hope that will happen. They were also linked with Sander Berg earlier in the window, but he went to Fulham, and Ugarte was seen as the more prominent main transfer for Manchester United at the time. If they do get him in and Scott McTominay goes out to Serie A, as reports have suggested, then I think, given that Scott McTominay's done a very good, it's a weird one, because I think McTominay is very much a cult hero around Old Trafford, delivering big goals, wearing his heart on his sleeve, Manchester United through and through. But he probably isn't that natural six that they need. And Ugarte potentially partnering Mainu possibly with Casemiro as some kind of, I don't know how it'd work, as some kind of alternative. I think that makes that midfield double pivot that Erik ten Hag likes to play with look a little bit stronger. And I think when all the squad comes together, I think Manchester United certainly look this season a little bit better than last season. The big thing for Ten Hag is, can he keep everyone fit? Because as we know, last season, he's really struggled at managing to get a full squad together. When he's had it, they've generally played quite well, looked quite impressive. When the injuries have accumulated, however, that's where United have looked weak, that's where they haven't delivered, and that's why they've struggled to keep momentum going when they have won matches in the past.
You get the panel screw.
Yeah, Johnny Bentley, Matt O'Reilly to Brighton for 30 million quid. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
It is.
Take you by surprise?
Not really as such. You know, as Josh said, very, very decent player, had a really good season last year with Celtic. And he's very, very right on the sense that going to Brighton is the perfect club to really go to if you want to progress your career. In my opinion, I think Brighton's probably the best ranked club in the Premier League from top to bottom. And I think what sums that up most is the change of managers and the continual movement of stability. So when Graham Potter went to Chelsea, everyone's going, oh no, that's terrible, they're losing such a good manager. De Zerbi comes in, takes them up a level. De Zerbi leaves, oh no, what's going to happen? And then Fabian Hirschler comes in, and he's won his first 2 games. And I think the club itself is run so brilliantly, they recruit so wonderfully, they treat young players with such great respect, and they develop so many along the game. And like Josh just said, people like Caicedo develop their game to such a level, they end up going for big money. And quite often, well, not all the time, but in many cases, a lot of these players like Caicedo have gone on for big money and found it quite difficult because they leave this wonderful, warm environment where people are allowed to develop and nurture their game. And, you know, it's so good to see because, as I say, they don't spend as a club. They don't spend what they can't afford. They generate the revenue through the players that they develop, these rough diamonds, as Josh said. They develop these rough diamonds to a level where they can sell for a large amount of profit. If you look at the amount of money that clubs have spent in terms of net spend over recent years, you'll see Brighton away in the distance for the amount that they've actually made as opposed to made a loss, where most clubs are making a loss because that seems to be how the model works in the Premier League, paying obscene amounts of money in a desperate attempt to keep up with everyone else. Brighton just seem light years ahead, and it's just so good to see. And I think you're quite right. I think O'Reilly will do very well there because it's the perfect environment to develop and grow his game.
Given that everybody in football, or every aspect of football, is now analysed to the minutest detail, Johnny, how come other clubs have not thought, hang on, we'll run our club just like Brighton have run their club? Maybe it's not possible, you know, when you get to the huge sort of behemoth, if I might use that word and pronounce it slightly differently. We're liking that word, aren't we? Today? Well, the way that I pronounce it, we're liking it. I'm not sure about the way you're pronouncing it, but anyway. So you prefer the Carl Perkins version of Blue Suede Shoes?
No, not necessarily.
You see, but you just said one thing.
When you come correct with talent.
Oh my goodness.
I feel like my dads have taken me out for the day, it feels like.
Oh, cheeky. He needs a Brazilian shirt name. I was about to say he's a Rolls Royce, Johnny Bentley, but after that cheeky little comment, I don't know if he's getting that Brazilian shirt name today. Do you, Tim? And we've got Johnny Bentley with us, who's, he's already stressed the fact that me and Tim are like his 2 dads.
You know what? This bed's lovely. It takes me back to a time before I was born. So it's a lovely, lovely part
Tim,
to listen to.
Do you know that deux chevaux that we were describing Johnny as? Remember, he sank from being a roller to a deux chevaux. I'm not sure he's not one of those Fiat bubble cars now. The Deux Chevaux. I had the Deux Chevaux. I own the Deux Chevaux, and it was a. Well, it's a CV, it's a curriculum vitae, but it's not one, but two curriculum vitaes. Dear, oh dear. Okay, we'll see if he...
Maybe I'm a tricycle. Maybe I'm a tricycle.
It'll get to that. It'll be a scooter soon, although some of those scooters have engines as well. You're a Burnley supporter, aren't you, Johnny?
I am, yeah. I am. Burnley. It's funny because actually, I am a Burnley supporter, but... I currently, on one of my match day PA roles, I generally cover Preston North End, so there's a bit of a conflict of interest there.
What's the difference? Preston North End, Burnley?
Spurs and Arsenal.
At least it's not Blackburn Rovers, is it?
That was true. That was true.
Are you turfing?
It's very true, actually. And apparently, I've heard, and this is again, it's something I haven't actually done a press box game at Ewood, but the food isn't quite as desirable at Preston. They give you some lovely food. At Burnley, you get pucker pie, and that's like that.
Mate,
that's very
that
different.
can be lovely food.
Exactly.
Well, we haven't eaten for a while, believe me. Out of the fact that Elvis recorded it, but he got the hump because once Elvis did his version, then Carl Perkins couldn't, hold a torch to him. Nobody wanted to hear Carl Perkins' version, which is more of a rockabilly version. Are you following this, Johnny?
Oh, yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really fascinated by
it. No, it is.
No need to take the flipping Mickey, man.
No, I'm not. That's just my face. And my delivery. There we go. No, you know what? For what it's worth, though, I think that Tim's quite right. I think Elvis does have that extra flair.
Normally, but you haven't heard the Carl Perkins version. The point of it.
Oh yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, it was. Come on, studio directors.
Well, yeah, exactly. The reason why I'm saying. Yeah, our studio director is trying, actually. He's trying his best. But the reason why I'm saying have a listen to it is because sometimes it's not like the great Howling Wolf said.
Did they just have a silence?
No, I was glad you asked that. Because like I was saying, like the great Howling Wolf said, I'm built for comfort. I'm not built for speed. Do you get that?
I like the dramatic effect you did before, I think.
Yeah, it was what we call...
dramatic effect known as dead air.
No, it wasn't dead air. I was waiting for either of you to ask, now go on, tell us, what did the great Howling Wolves say?
There was some tumbleweed that went past.
Anyway, remember what Howling Wolves said. Tim, please do not look like that. Please, why are you so dismissive of my intellectual...
I was a bit strained because I was just trying to show you my shoes, which are in fact blue. They're not suede, but they are blue.
I can see the sole, but I'll say not the SOUL. I can't see the sole like that. Anyway,
it's not worth trying to save me. I have no soul. Well, we got someone from Bangladesh waiting.
We have got somebody from. But Johnny, think again. Which is a better version?
You know what? It's not too bad, that one. But just to annoy you slightly, I think I'll side with Tim and the.
You're still sticking to the Elvis.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can say that they're both great.
Yeah. Why not? Why is everything a competition?
They are both. Yeah. We do need a competition just to know which of your old dads is the wiser one, as it were.
And I just wonder whether revolution or this sort of movement, albeit positive in every aspect, it came, it resulted into difficulties in employment for footballers. Have something like this happened in the panelists' respective regions?
I think I think there's certainly some parallels. It's always a shame, isn't it? I mean, we've seen it with certain other sports as well, where politics and exterior forces ultimately get in the way of sports people and their roles, and particularly, like you said, with the Ukraine war and people from who compete in the Ukrainian leagues actually having to then move back over to Europe. Many stars from Shakhtar, as you quite rightly cited, Dotun, have had to move away from that and into European football. But also such actions and such issues obviously have a massive effect. And I'm sure Kabir would agree on the people in that country who who obviously want to see their sporting stars succeed in that country. They want to see those sports continue amidst the chaos and that's going on around them. And I think, I think we've seen some kind of similarities, as you say, there. I think Tim could probably elaborate more, certainly from the South American side. But yeah, it's, as I say, it's one of those where it's a shame when political issues unfortunately do get in the way of sport, and obviously, sometimes that just can't be helped.
The player from the Blue Jays got transferred to their rivals, who were their opponents in that match, the Red Sox. And so he played against himself when the match was resumed. He played against himself, or at least played against the team that he was playing for when the match was initially started. Anyway, so it's hardly likely there's going to be the exact same situation. No. But what's the most bizarre kind of situation that you can think of off the top of your head of a player being transferred from one team to another and then maybe facing their own team and losing as well? Because that's the punchline on this one.
Yeah, it's a bizarre story, isn't it? And it requires a lot of variables to sort of be happening all at once. I mean, there's so many players in football across the years that have gone from one rival to another, but quite the difference in going from one rival to another in the middle of a game that's been suspended due to fans going onto the field and then transferring to the other side, and then it's just crazy. I mean, the closest thing to that minus the fans is probably me at six-a-side joining the other team when they're losing, so I can help bring it forward, score a hat trick for the other team. But apart from, not to blow my own trumpet because I don't like doing that, I can't really think of too many other situations where, as I say, that's happened. But of course, if you take away the craziness of the uniqueness of that particular scenario, hence why it's made world news. Of course, there's been many superstars that have moved from one rival to another. Michael Owen with Liverpool and Manchester United. Of course, Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, with Barcelona and Real Madrid. Also Inter Milan and AC Milan as well, actually, to be fair. And, Ibrahimovic played for every...
Tevez.
Yeah, Tevez, Manchester City, Manchester United as well. And yeah, it's just the list is endless, really. But as I say,
you've got to be careful though in those situations. Sorry to cut you in. You've got to be careful in those situations because the passions are strong. I was thinking with Carlos Tevez there.
That was very subtle, wasn't it? That though, he didn't make a big meal out of it when he moved to Manchester City.
But you've got to be careful that when you play the team that you might subsequently be signed to, you didn't rub it in too much when you scored against them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's part of the beauty, isn't it? Having those characters out. I mean, as I say, what was it? Welcome to Manchester with Tevez, and then that was when they were becoming big, wasn't it? Manchester City. He was seen as one of the sort of the prestigious signings of the new era, and yeah, he certainly, as I say, he was a character, wasn't he? Tevez. He wasn't too bothered about donning both shirts of Manchester, red or blue. It was he just got on with it. He didn't really care, did he? I mean, at one point he fell out with the manager, and then when he came back, Mancini brought him back in, scores a goal, and he does a golf celebration, doesn't he? Because he'd gone to play golf.
He'd gone to play golf, as you all know. Tim's an expert on that story, by the way, so you might want to bring it in a second or two. But Miguel, what about you? Any some remarkable sort of signings or re-signings like that comes to mind?
Nothing that comes to mind. What came to mind right now when you mentioned about a player transferring over and rubbing it in, your almost namesake Emmanuel Adebayo kind of did that.
Oh yes, we haven't forgotten that.
When he went to Spurs.
Yeah. So
he scores for
Manchester
happening...
City. I was thinking more about when he scored for Manchester City and then running all the way down to the other end of the pitch to celebrate in front of the Arsenal fans from whence he had been transferred. Anyway, that was the moment.
He never ran quicker than that, did he, either? That was the quickest he ran in his career, I think.
They've said that many, and they clocked it as well. They clocked it. Even Usain Bolt said that was an impressive 100-metre dash. Peter enters the conversation. Hello, Carl.
Good morning, Dotun. Morning, John. Morning, Tim. Or afternoon, whatever it is in Rio, Tim.
It's sultry evening there.
It's cold. It's cold and it's coming up 11.
Oh, it's cold. That's nice to know.
Yeah, it's cold. Genuinely cold.
Oh, that's really nice to know. Nice to know,
It's
mate.
cold here as well.
Yeah. Well, it might be in Salford.
Of course it is. It's bank holiday.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not now, actually. It's not now. It's not now.
Anyway,
what do you
Carl,
mean?
Yeah.
I believe it's always cold in Manchester way anyway, so it's always cold.
It's always
there,
raining there. It's always raining there. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, that's all right.
Johnny, you'd say that as well, wouldn't you, Johnny?
It's actually quite mild today, to be fair. I said it was quite cold and there is no rain, so we should be grateful, really.
Yeah. And we've got Johnny with us. He needs a Brazilian shirt now because it doesn't sound good, does it, Tim? Saying, oh, by the way, we've got Johnny Bentley with us. Is he a Bentley or a Rolls Royce kind of thing? I mean, that joke's going to
You've not said that before, have you?
No, I know. It's going to wear thin eventually, isn't it, Tim? So we do need a Brazilian shirt now. We've got a couple of contenders.
Maybe we need some more information as well, though, perhaps.
Yeah,
to flesh it out.
Yeah. First of all, before the new information that you might want to give us in a moment, Johnny, these ones have come
like I'm on trial.
Yeah, you are on trial. What do you think the Brazilian shirt name is? You know, it's not just an anointment.
It's not fun and games, is it?
No, it's not a coronation. It's nothing like that. No. It's going to hurt as well, by the way. Yeah. It's going to hurt. Yeah. But it's a secret ritual that we have that we can't broadcast. A secret ritual. We take you into a place where the sun doesn't shine, basically.
Am I blindfolded?
No. No need to be. The sun doesn't shine, so you don't need to be blindfolded. Okay. And we take you through an ancient ritual.
Do you sing in that, or is that?
Well, no. I may very well sing if I can learn how to sing, but as I can't sing at the moment, whatever you hear from me is not singing. It can be anything else.
What was it ever?
That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point I'm making. So the Brazilian shirt name suggestion that's coming, I think this is a decent one, you know. Miguelvis, what do you think of this for Johnny? Because Jake in Dundalk in Ireland has said, seeing as Johnny shares his name with a vintage car and supports Burnley, maybe his Brazilian shirt name should be Vintage Claret.
I like it. That's good, that.
Yeah, it's not for you. He knows the game. He's trying to be funny. He came too quickly with that, you see. We caught him out. But what do you think of it, Miguelvis?
I wasn't listening to the top of the show. I don't know what is this car that he's related to?
No. His name is Bentley. You know, like a Rolls Royce, a baby Bentley and all of that. And
that's my nickname, though.
Yeah, and he supports Burnley, who play in claret and blue like West Ham and Aston Villa and all of those. Who was first with the claret and blue, Johnny? You must know this.
Definitely Burnley. We were one of the founding the founding clubs of the Football League, Dotun, as I'm sure you'll be aware. It's funny, actually, just as a really, really, really small anecdote. When I used to work in Asia, in China, and I used to do a bit of freelance writing. I used to work as an English teacher as well. Teaching was questionable, but the freelance writing was good. When I was over there, we often used to go to expat bars and things sometimes to watch football from Europe and things like this. And I always used to wear a Burnley shirt as a sign of identity. And in one of these bars, this millionaire guy who so happened to be a Burnley fan recognised that I had this Burnley shirt on. And he bought me a 3-course meal, drinks, and you know, it was a lovely, lovely sort of identity feel by wearing the football shirt. There was an argument on a radio show not long ago that said, "Oh, it's terrible when people go out and wear football shirts." And I said, "Well, hang on a minute," and then I gave them that story. I don't think they were listening, but to me, that was like, you know, I think certainly when you go abroad, there is that sort of identity that you get by wearing a football jersey. I think it's nice.
You should have told him your name was Bentley.
Oh. Well, I did, and then he was talking about giving me a Brazilian shirt name, so I had to leave then.
No. A Rolls Royce. He's a millionaire. Come on now.
All right, I got you there. A bit slow there.
Well, no, never mind.
It's okay.
There's one more. Miguel, what about this one from Derek in Aberdeen? He says, "You're both letting cheeky little Johnny give you the runaround tonight. That's me and you, Papa Tim." Daddy Dotun and Papa Tim, says Derek in Aberdeen.
Sounds like your DJ name, that, Dotun.
Yeah, that is actually. Daddy Dotun and Papa Tim. You're both letting cheeky little Johnny give you the runaround tonight. I wonder who cheeky little Johnny is, Johnny.
I am only 5'5", so she's not wrong.
Yeah.
She? Yeah. New evidence.
Yeah.
New evidence.
Yeah. He's only 5'5", folks. He needs a Brazilian shirt name.
So 5'5", there's a China connection.
Yeah,
we're gradually putting some more paint on our canvas.
It's nice metaphor there, Tim.
And don't forget, Burnley is a 1 team town. So everybody in Burnley, there is no dispute. Every single person.
No, there's a couple of Man United fans. There always is, you know.
Well,
it's true.
They're in a corner of their own.
Sorry.
Every single other person in Burnley wears claret and blue. That's from the milkman. When you go to Burnley, this is what I remember from Burnley. You go to the newsagents, they're wearing claret and blue. Go to the butchers, they're wearing claret and blue. Go see the window cleaner, he's wearing claret. The milkman, he's wearing claret and blue, etc. Am I right or am I wrong, Johnny?
You know what? To be fair, though, it's a town of 80,000 people, give or take, and it's phenomenal that the club was as big as it has been, as successful as it has been over time. Certainly filling in the Premier League, filling capacity at 22,000, give or take, in terms of the seat capacity and a raucous atmosphere. And you're quite right, Dotun. It's a club. It's a working class town. It's got a tremendously big club for the size of that town, and it really puts the area on the map. And just to go back to the China story very briefly, if people ask where I came from, it's a small town near Burnley actually called Cologne. No one's heard of that. But if I said near Burnley, even people from Shenzhen across and in China in general would know Burnley because of the Premier League status that at the time the club had. So it's quite remarkable, as I say, what football clubs can do for small towns across England.
Had you said Oswald Twistle, no one in China would have known what you were talking about.
They wouldn't even have been able to pronounce it because I can't pronounce it.
I can't pronounce it, so
exactly. There's a good job.
One syllable too many.
Burnley. And another thing about Burnley is that they play at Turf Moor.
Yeah.
And it's it's somewhat bleak, that ground. I never got a result there.
Is that where the Fool filmed the video to kick a conspiracy in Burnley's ground? It may well be where Marble Millerchip broods on how Flair can be punished.
Good God.
I think
it's like I am back home now. It's a great accent. So good.
Great Marquis Smith, that was, although some people called him
Classic old
Vickery.
ground. Classic old ground. That's, and in an age where you've not got the four stands and the wind blowing through, and the pucker pies. It's a classic, as I say, it's a classic throwback ground. And as I say, one of the founding fathers of the English Football League. So,
I don't know if I can read out this one, Tim, this Brazilian shirt name. I don't know if I can. Oh, my goodness. This is a little bit... Anyway, I'm going to do it in the straightest face that I can. So remember, he says, "Good evening, Daddy Dotun and Papa Tim. You're both letting shaky little Johnny give you the runaround tonight. Maybe his Brazilian shirt name is, as a Burnley fan, should be... Ben Mee, do you remember? He was a
phenomenal
defender for you, and now a phenomenal defender for Brentford. Ben Me over.
I think we can go even better. Maybe Mini Me.
Mini Me.
He's only 5'5".
Well done for saving it, Tim. Dotun, where are you going there? Where are you going there?
Where am I going?
Yes.
He was like saying in
Ben
the spirit,
me over.
Look. Pain in Diaz. We've got a pain in Diaz.
That's good.
That's not bad. And I think he was going for the same kind of spirit. But Mini Me. I don't know if it's usual that anybody on the panel can...
I like that. That's the best one, actually.
Goodness, it's got to be Mini Me. Listen, we'll come back to this. So, Brazilian shirt name for Johnny Bentley, who's with us. Please text me 8505. It's not me, mate. I said I couldn't read it out. I didn't know if I could. Anyway, 85058. We've got a question from Lisa in New York. New York. Lisa, great to have you back again.
Is forever Nottingham.
Where's she calling from, Dotun? Sorry, where's she calling from?
I am calling from New York. I'm not actually in the city. I'm just outside, but I'm from Nottingham. I was laughing listening to that because I didn't live in China, but I lived in Hong Kong, and I used to go to Shenzhen shopping.
Right. Really? That's cool.
Johnny.
So there you go. And of course, Nottingham Forest, definitely one of the founding teams.
Yep.
You're not the millionaire that bought him the meal, are you?
No, I'm not.
Just checking.
And that never happened to me either.
You sound different to when you bought me the meal, Lisa, I think, to be fair. Yeah. What did you think of Hong Kong, out of interest?
Oh, yeah, we had a great time there, yeah. We lived there for 12 years before we moved here. Yeah.
Amazing.
We had a really good time. And Shenzhen, really, we used to go up on the train, and it was a great place to go to shop.
Well, it used to be a fishing town, and then in 20 years they built it up
That's
to be
how old I am. It was It was definitely a village. We observed street dentistry and all sorts in Shenzhen. It really was a village.
Yeah.
But
Tottenham used to be
one
like that.
big
Shows how old I am.
mall, and now you go, it's like Hong Kong.
No, honestly, Tottenham used to be like that. People don't know. It was like a village. No, honestly, it was like, I swear, that seems ridiculous now, but that goes to show how old I am. It used to be a flipping village.
This new manager's come in on his slot. Now, I don't know what the team think. I think he could win the league his first season.
I think that they've started really well. And I was sort of making the argument, it's not that he's necessarily better than Klopp. Jurgen Klopp's one of the best managers in the world and has been for many years. But I think there's not a lot of change. Well, there's no transfers that have come in as of yet, maybe different towards the end of the window. And I think sometimes it's almost like hitting the pinata and, continually hitting the pinata. And what I mean by that is Jurgen Klopp didn't always have lots of transfers to bring in season after season after season. I think sometimes you could almost see a bit of occasional lethargy, exhaustion due to the intense style at which he used to play with his Liverpool teams. I think Arne Slot's more of a let's keep some more of the ball and let's not be quite as forwardly aggressive as maybe Jurgen Klopp teams were in the past. Because I think, as we've seen in these first two games, they've had more possession, they've had more of the ball, they've looked to dictate the games a little bit more, and they've had 2 clean sheets as well. And, 2 clean sheets. Go on.
Well, I agree with that, but I think with Klopp, the only problem I found is that Liverpool play a high line to talk this through and to score goals. I think that has got to be looked at. And another time is they might be 2 or 3 goals in front, and they still want to score more goals. And I don't think that's necessary, really. I think you should play the game out, keep the ball, and win the game. It would still 2 or 3. But overall, I think whoever took over Liverpool, they've got, I think, a brilliant team. I mean, I think I could go there and you just let them play their own game.
There is a story like that, which is hilarious, but I can't tell it. So I apologise for even mentioning it, because everyone's going to be wondering, go on, Don, go on, tell the story. No, I can't. If I tell the story, I will not be here tomorrow.
At the end of the Dotun show.
Exactly.
I'll be taking over from you.
Well, yeah, I'm keeping the seat warm for you. I've kept it really low for you as well. Boom, boom.
That's good.
Tony is in Ilford, however. No, apologies. It wasn't even funny.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I apologise. You can take the mickey out of me any which way you want.
I have been doing.
That's what you've been doing.
Yeah, that's what I
Is
mean.
that what you've been doing? I never realised that what you've been doing all this time.
No,
Why don't you tell me, mate, so I can join in? Anyway, Tony's in Ilford. Hello, Tony. Tristan has got one for you. Tristan in Sacramento in California has said the Fall filmed the video for Kicker Conspiracy at Turf Moor. My call for cheeky little Johnny's Brazilian shirt name is Smurf Mourinho. That's not bad, is it? It's not bad. You see, and these are 2 different people from different sides of the Atlantic coming up with this Smurf Moor
Fantastic.
theme. Isn't that incredible? And this is from Edward in Dallas, Texas, who says, I believe people in Burnley have a drink called a
Benny Hot.
Yeah, Benny Hot.
Do,
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And so I think Johnny's Brazilian shirt name should be Bentley and Caliente. I don't get that. Do you?
Caliente's hot.
That's calientes. It's hot in Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Bente Caliente, and you do remind me what it means each time. So keep these ones. Make a note of all of these ones, Johnny, just so that I don't misquote you in a further World Football phone-in. So what should we go for? Miguel, anything grab your attention so far? What's the one that's
I don't want to leave him feeling blue, but it's got to be Smurf Moore.
Smurf Moore.
That's good, that. I like
Smurf
that.
Moore's not a bad one.
That's good.
Tim, you want to stick to your mini-me?
No, Smurf Moore has done me as well.
Smurf Moore's done you as well. Yeah. Smurf Moore's done me as well. So Smurf Moore's done a hat trick on us, Johnny.
Yeah.
How's it sounding for you?
I mean, it's probably an improvement to Bend Me Over, which was controversial, to say the least, I think.
I would like to say...
And this means, Don, that you have to play the role of Father Abraham.
Forever and ever and ever.
Indeed.
There you go.
Smurf Moore. Yeah. Have respect for your elders, by the way. Have you respect for your elders. And remember...
wasn't he calling you your papa, your big papa?
Yeah. Hey, I love the way they call me Big Papa. Well, I can't obviously sing the rest of it for you, but he does it proper, apparently. Yeah. I don't sing. I can't sing. And Biggie Small's a rapper, by the way, so am I not allowed to rap? You dibba dibba dies and so socialise. How are you going to make Tiny Smurf Moore rise? Do you get it?
Yeah. Is that Daddy Dotun rendition, that? Yeah.
It is, yeah. It is, yeah.
Have you had a good time with us, Johnny? Have you had a good time with us?
It's been very good. It's been very good from both of you. Some lovely insight, some lovely discussion. I'd pass on the... Have you had a good time with me?
Yeah. As good as... Apart from the bit where you accused us of being just out of it and too old and whatever it was.
Didn't say out of it. You said that.
Not out of it in terms of...
A bit out of it when you said bend me over. I thought that was a bit out of it. But
why do you keep repeating it?
You said it about 4 times.
Unfortunate. I never said it 4 times. What I said was the other
listeners,
caller...
check on BBC Sounds.
If I said it 4 times, it was only to reiterate Christopher's support for it. It wasn't my own feeling.
You leave Christopher out of this.
Well, you say that, but Christopher not only suggested Smurf Moore, but he also suggested that he supported the other one that I won't name.
Smurf Moore's good.
So we'll be here all day.